Hello and welcome to another episode of Small Caps Watch. I'm Bronte Moore from Emerald Financial, and today I'm joined by Gary Phillips, CEO of Pharmaxis. Gary, thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Nice to see you.
So Gary, the last time we spoke, you just commenced phase 1C trials of your bone marrow cancer drug. Can you tell us how they went?
Yes, we were really pleased with the results of the phase 1C study we've just completed. It was a dose escalation study where we trialed 3 different doses of our drug in patients who have myelofibrosis, patients that were not on the standard of care, so patients that were actually quite sick. Each of the patients got the escalating doses for 1 month at a time. And at the end of that, we saw some really great results. Firstly, safety. The drug had no adverse effects, even at the highest dose. And that's really important because the drugs which are currently used in this area have quite nasty side effect profiles. So this drug's likely to be used in combination. So having a clean safety profile is really important. And secondly, the drug gave more than 90% inhibition of the enzymes that we were targeting for a full 24 hours with an oral dose. And that's really important because these enzymes that we're inhibiting are thought to be the cause of the disease, of the fibrosis in the bone marrow of these patients. So this gives our drug a disease-modifying potential. It backs up what we saw in the preclinical work that we've done before, and we were really excited to see those results. And as well as us being excited, the safety committee reviewed the results that we had and gave us approval to go ahead into a phase 2 study of myelofibrosis. So this is a study of where the patients will go on the drug for 6 months, and we hope to demonstrate again a clean safety profile and disease-modifying effect. And one of the uses of the capital, where we just raised 7.2 million, will be to make sure that this study is fully funded. We've got sites recruiting already in Australia and South Korea. We're going to add Taiwan and the US. And this is a trial that will report by the end of next year. So a really important step forward for the company.
Gary, you've mentioned disease-modifying potential. What exactly does that mean? And how does it differ from the current treatments available?
Well, the existing treatments are called JAK inhibitors, and the JAK inhibitors reduce the size of the spleen in these patients. So these patients have fibrosis or scarring of their bone marrow. That's the body's engine for producing red cells, white cells, and platelets. And if that gets scarred and can't do that, then the spleen tries to take over and it gets bigger, and that causes a host of other problems as well. Now, the JAK inhibitors, which sell, by the way, over $1 billion a year in this disease, despite only being symptomatic, they do reduce the size of the spleen, but they have very little impact on the life expectancy for these patients, which currently is around about 5 years that they have to live from diagnosis. So we've done some earlier preclinical work with a group in Boston, and they showed that in a model of myelofibrosis, we can reduce the scarring in the bone marrow, that we can, therefore, when that happens, you see an increase in the red cells, white cells, and platelets because the bone marrow is now functioning again. You see a reduction in the spleen volume as well. So these are all really positive things, and we think are real evidence of a disease-modifying effect of our drug. So we expect it to be an improvement on the existing standard of care.
We've seen that your drug also has some interest from liver cancer researchers. Can you tell us how that came about?
Yes, so the University of Rochester approached us, actually. So once it was known in the scientific world that we had a drug which inhibited this family of enzymes called the lysyl oxidases, a lot of researchers beat a path to our door because it has been a target that they've been interested in looking at for many years in certain types of cancer. So there are some cancers which are very fibrotic in nature. So they have a lot of scar tissue, both around the tumor and running through the tumor. And the theory goes that this stops the access of existing drugs. So we've got some great new cancer drugs, which seem to have produced miraculous effects in some cancers. But in some of these cancers, like pancreatic cancer and liver cancer, this scar tissue prevents these drugs working, prevents them getting into the tumor. And they've been looking for a way around that. Now, our drug in inhibiting these lysyl oxidase enzymes breaks down that fibrous scar tissue. and it allows these drugs to get access. The University of Rochester, a great group of scientists and clinicians, they did some preclinical work with our drug, and in a model of liver cancer, what they demonstrated was, first of all, that yes, there was less fibrosis in the bone marrow, in the tumors. Then secondly, that you saw a reduced pressure inside the tumor. So that meant you're starting to see increased blood flow going through the tumor. They measured increases in the amount of drug getting in. And then most importantly of all, they saw reduced tumor growth and improved survival in these things. So it really looks like this hypothesis of using an antifibrotic like our drug 5505 with existing chemotherapy might really be the key to crack open these difficult to treat tumors. And you know, the liver cancer market is worth already around 2 billion per annum, and it's forecast to reach 7 billion by 2027. So this is a huge addressable market, very high unmet need, and our drug looked like it could be the key to unlocking efficacy of some of the new cancer therapies in this area.
And Gary, with that 7.2 million raised, how does the financial situation look for Pharmaxis?
Yes, the capital raise went very well. We were very pleased with it, and we were supported by our major institutional holders because they understood the importance of strengthening our balance sheet, being able to make sure that we can deliver on the myelofibrosis study, which is due to report by the end of next year, 2022. Also a study in scarring that we've got underway, completing that and producing data by the end of next year. I mean, our major institutional shareholders understand that these trials and the results from them are absolutely changing situations for the company. I mean, this will transform Pharmaxis as a stock. That extra cash coming in not only allows us to make sure that we can complete those two studies and deliver data by the end of next year, but it also allows us to kick off this study with Rochester University in liver fibrosis, in liver cancer. They've submitted an IND to the FDA and got approval to do a study with first-line treatment for 5505 plus existing standard of care in liver cancer patients in their clinic. So we really want to support them go forward, and we'll be announcing more details about that study in the next couple of months. In the meantime, of course, the 25 million in the bank that we have now gives us that extended cash runway that gets us through the results from those studies. And we've also got a mannitol division. So we have a product which is approved in the US and Europe and other parts of the world for cystic fibrosis and for asthma diagnosis. That division is now cash flow positive. We generated 3.2 million in sales in the September quarter. And together with the cash raise that we've just completed, that really puts into a very strong position to complete those trials and deliver transformational results for the company before the end of next year.
Well, Gary, it sounds like you're doing some great work to bring some much needed cancer treatments to market. Thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to catching up again soon.
Thanks, Bronte. It's been great talking to you, and it's always good to talk about the company, particularly at this particular moment in our history.